All-you-can-eat buffet workers. What are your horror stories? Years ago, I worked at an all-you-can-eat country buffet in South Carolina. I was a busboy. One day, I went to a table. It was a mess, as per usual. It looked to be a large family, group of families of around 12 people or so. And #X2OOB. The thing that stuck it in my memory is that whenever they had finished with what they were going to eat, they would scrape their plate and use it again. And #X2OOB. Scrape their plates, * onto the floor next to their chairs, *. And #X2OOB. So next to each chair there was a 6-inch to 18-inch pile of chicken bones, crab legs, mashed potatoes, remnants of baked potatoes, etc. and #X2OOB. Just disgusting. I bus at a slightly nicer restaurant. On Fridays and Sundays we offer a prime rib and crab leg buffet, among a salad bar, hot and cold entrees, and a dessert bar. It's honestly pretty nice, and our buffet runner keeps anyone from doing ungodly things to the buffet. But the one incident that will always stand out to me was when this family of 5 came in. From the moment they came in to the moment they left, they ate as many crab legs as they possibly could. Their server and I were clearing plates off as fast as we could. But every time we would return, it seemed like another mountain of crab leg shells would appear in front of each member of that family. I know not how they ate so much, and I honestly can't recall if they are anything besides the crab. Piles upon piles of shells were left upon the table after they left. It was truly a sight to behold. What's more is, after I wiped down the table and came back with settings, I had to get another rag to wipe down the table again because something in the crab leg juice combined with our sanitizer and left a nice milky residue upon the table. Delicious. When I leave this job, I'll never be able to look at crab legs the same way. Not mine, but I had a buddy who was 400+ pounds. And the dude could put away some food. He went to a casino buffet that was one of the higher-end ones that had crab legs and steak. On about his 4th or 5th plate stacked full of crab legs, the manager came out and gave him $250 in free slot play to leave the buffet. Edit. So I linked this to my buddy, who pointed out that there were 2 other dudes there and none of them was under 300 pounds. They killed a metric fuck ton of food between them, and he was putting them to shame. The buffet was higher end, so it was $50 a person, but they easily all ate probably 3 to 4 times that, and he ate probably 8 to 10 times that worth in food. He then went on win just over $100 with that free slot play as well. If you can't beat the casinos at the games, beat 'em at the bar or buffet. A woman came in with 2 of her kids, and had a pretty regular meal. You pay when you leave at our place, and she decided to sneak out with her younger daughter before paying, leaving her underage son alone at the table. We caught on pretty quick and sent someone after her, who found her in her car in the parking garage waiting for her son to come as well. She refused to come back in and pay, so we had to keep her son hostage until the police came to handle the situation. What some people will do to their kids, I swear. Edit. Forgot to mention, we also found out from her son that she stole one of the manager's key cards, and they would regularly come into the hotel and use the card to go swimming in the top floor pool. Smart, I'll give her that, but still. My first job was as a dishwasher in an all-you-can-eat fried catfish buffet. People are animals, especially the ones that get far more food off the buffet than they can eat. Then they take the leftovers and pile them on a plate or tray, cover in ketchup and tartar sauce, then pour their iced tea over the top of all that. A lot of people did that, got at least 2 plates like that a night. Went as a customer to a Golden Corral. I'm walking to the chocolate fountain and three little girls step in front of me, and all three of them just go hands deep in the fountain. The family was the first table by the fountain and all they did was laugh about how cute it was. Employees turned it off immediately. Buffet where I live got shut down for serving coyote meat and labeling it as other meats. At one point myself and two other family members worked at a Golden Corral, each in different sections because small towns don't have a lot of job options for high school college kids. I worked in the bakery, which was surprisingly low in horror stories other than the chaos that remained after a large group of children came through. My brother worked the steak station. He got these regulars that would tip him pretty well if he would prepare blue steaks for them. The very idea of ordering blue steaks from a buffet makes me gag. My cousin worked the salad bar. Management would require her to keep seafood items on the bar for long after the point where they'd be safe to consume. I think the record was chilled shrimp for Mother's Day that stayed for over a week and a half. They finally caved and let her toss them when a customer complained about the smell. Watched a man at the Ponderosa walk up to the buffet without a plate, untuck his t-shirt, pull the hem up to form a basket, reach into the steam tray of chicken wings with his bare hand and just load up on hot wings in his makeshift shirt bucket. The woman in the kitchen was like, "Please sir, could you use a plate? Or just tongs?" Guy scoffed and looked at her like she'd asked him to don a tuxedo. Picked up some fish and chips recently. Saw they had all-you-can-eat on Wednesdays. So I asked, "What is the most that someone?" 18 pieces of fish and 3 plates. She held up this huge platter of fries every single Wednesday. So he eats that exact order every week. Yes, and he goes to a different all-you-can-eat every day of the week. He got banned from the Chinese place down the road. Not a buffet, but I worked at a pizza parlor that offered a lunch buffet of endless pizza. The lunch ran from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. This gentleman comes in, I think he was homeless, he serves up a sky-high plate of pizza and just goes to town. He stayed from the beginning to the very end to make sure he got his money's worth. Well, his body didn't appreciate being stuffed like a piñata of pizza. He got up, waddled fast to the bathroom, and next thing I know I'm being told he had liquid shit trailing behind him to the bathroom and inside the bathroom. I was informed by my boss about the incident. I told him I was just heading out for a break. I was not about to clean that up. My parents owned an all-you-can-eat buffet and I was there every day of my life from 4 to 14. My favorite horror story is when a couple came in to eat. Obviously, they loved the crab legs and every time my mum puts them out they took it all. Also, just a reminder, crab legs are expensive. Forget the other customers, they just took it and ate it all. So they're there for maybe 2 hours now. And it's getting dark. They've eaten through at least a week's stock of crab legs and my mum finally decides it's enough. She stops putting it out in the buffet and brings individual plates to the customers who wanted it but couldn't get any due to this couple. Understandably, the couple is angry. They literally flipped the chairs at their table, flipped their plates, bowls, cups, etc. and completely trashed their area. Food was all over the floor, table, chairs. Sticky soda was dripping into the carpet. They left in a hurry, but someone caught their license plate. We called the cops, and I think they said they charged him with something. I can't remember the aftermath details clearly, because I was probably 8 or 9 years old. 20 now. I just remember looking at the mess and feeling really angry that my sister and I had to clean it up with our mum. It was a family-run business, so we didn't have much help. Anyways, that's my horror story. The end. Edit typos cause I was on mobile. Not an employee, but a customer. A long time ago, my mum and I picked up a friend of hers and we went to a local Chinese food buffet. This place had a thing where you could get a pound of food for $5 in a takeout container instead of sitting and eating at the restaurant if you want, so that was our plan. The three of us were browsing around the buffet line with our takeout containers, adding what we wanted to them, and then I noticed my mum's friend doing something fucking disgusting. He was eating a chicken wing, like right in front of the buffet line, hiding his face behind his takeout container, and then he took the chicken bone and put it back in the buffet tray. I walked over to my mum and told her what he was doing, and at first she thought I was joking. So she walked over towards him and now he was standing there eating a slice of watermelon right off the buffet. And then asterisk putting the rind back in the tray, asterisk. So my mom is like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, don't worry, I do this all the time. They never notice. So of course both me and mum are panicking, worried that they're gonna call the cops or something because of this disfit. We basically pretended to not know him and continued to fill up our containers the right way. After a couple minutes, one of the employees walks up to my mum and tells her that they noticed what the guy was doing, and they noticed that we were also uncomfortable about it and didn't intend to blame us. But they warned her that if she doesn't get him to pay for the food in his container and leave immediately, they'll be calling the police. So of course mum tells him that we need to go now, and he just brushes it off like, I don't care, they're not gonna do anything. Well, me and mum walked up to the front, paid for our containers, apologized, and walked out and left him in there. A minute later, you can see and hear him shouting with the staff. He throws his container on the ground and food splatters everywhere. He storms out, shouting insults as he leaves, and of course gives them "I'm never coming back," to which they reply, "You're not allowed in here no more. We'll call the cops." So we're standing out by the car, waiting for him. Of course, we yell at him for being a piece of shit. We get in the car and the next thing you know, this motherfucker starts pulling chicken wings and Chinese donuts out of his fucking pockets and eating them. We dropped him off at home and never spoke to him again. Not an employee or a customer, but we had a Chinese buffet shut down for a health code violation, which was employee was cutting veggies while taking a shit. To this day I still wonder if that means dude brought a bucket into the kitchen or a veggies into the shitter, and I honestly don't know which is worse. Not a worker, but I went to hometown buffet and the kid in front of me was slightly shorter than the buffet bar but had his hands in the yellow jello, just massaging it. Then his mum came by and snatched him away but didn't say anything while a guy came and made himself a bowl of jello. 10-year-old me was too appalled to say anything. I haven't eaten jello since then. I worked at a Ruby Tuesday in Center City, Philly, first floor of the Liberty Place building. I had a couple that would come in about twice a week that requested me. They would gorge themselves at the salad bar for about an hour, ask for large glasses of water with no ice, then both would take the water into the bathroom. They would come out a few minutes later with empty glasses, ask for the check and leave. I finally put it together that they were bulimic after I walked in the women's bathroom and it smelled like vomit. Very polite folks and tipped well though. I was once at an old country buffet, waiting patiently to get some mac and cheese. The kid in front of me plied his plate high, and then started tapping the serving spoon to get all of the chessy goodness free from the confines of the spoon. Once he was satisfied with his handiwork, he licked the spoon clean. I didn't have any mac and cheese, and haven't been back since. I didn't work at an all-you-can-eat, but my sister did. The buffet itself was on the first floor, so you had to take either the stairs or the elevator to your seat. Once there was a lady who was carrying a tray with a whole lot of stuff on it, down glasses, plates and a whole lot more of junk. My sister asked the lady if she needed any assistance, to which the lady replied, "You assume because I'm fat, I need help?" My sister didn't react. A few seconds later the lady fell down the stairs. There was blood and food everywhere. I had a co-worker that briefly managed Orion's buffet. He said that it was fairly common for people to gorge themselves, then purge in the restroom and start eating again so that they could get their money's worth. So I work in an all-you-can-eat using tablets. This is, according to my boss, based on a Japanese kind of restaurant. We serve mostly Asian food, from Chinese to Japanese and even some Korean. The premise is that people order their food in rounds and we then bring the food to their table when it is ready. We always warn customers beforehand that if they leave food behind because they ordered too much, they will have to pay extra, depending on what they left behind. We have seen people try the weirdest stuff if it comes to not paying extra. People dumping food in their handbags, to people shoving it in their mouths then go to the toilet and flush it, to putting hair on it and blaming us for it. We see them pull this stuff, etc. And when we actually catch them doing it, they blame us for it and refuse to pay. Some people let it come down to the police to sort it out. Sometimes there have been multiple occasions on which they were involved to solve the problem for just €5. I guess some people's greed has no extent.